For full details, including terms and conditions, visit unlock.com/legal. Call 1-888-780-6854 to speak with a representative today. Actor Portrayal. Terms and conditions apply. Not available in all states.
Hey, homeowners, can I get a minute of your time? If you need cash but don't want another loan, I've got the perfect solution. You can access up to $500,000 of your home's equity without monthly payments or interest ever with Unlock. This isn't a loan. It's a home equity agreement. With Unlock, you may qualify for cash today in exchange for a share of your home's future value. No debt, no extra bills, just financial flexibility on your terms. Use the money however you want. Home improvements, paying off debt, investing, or boosting your retirement savings. Unlike HELOCs, home equity loans, or cash out refis, there are no monthly payments. No stress. You've built this equity. Now it's time to use it. Go to unlock.com for more information.
Don't wait. Call 888-780-6854 to unlock the equity in your home and get up to $500,000 in cash with no monthly payments and no interest ever. Call 888-780-6854, 888-780-6854, or visit unlock.com. That's unlock.com for more information.
Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. Hey everyone, welcome back to Trip Tales, the podcast where real people share their real trip stories to give you destination inspiration and practical planning tips. Today's destinations have been one of the most requested episodes, so I'm pumped to jump in. We are going to be talking about two of the most popular and highly rated and reviewed Hyatt Ziva Cap Cana and Hyatt Ziva Cancun with my guest, Katie, from the Points for Normal People podcast. So welcome, Katie. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about these properties.
I start every episode with a rapid fire get to know you. So tell everyone where you live, what you do, and about your family.
Sure. I live in the suburbs of Chicago. I have two kids. They're both 12, but they are not twins. My son was adopted when he was almost 4. So not twins, but the same age. I run my podcast, but also I have a larger business just called Katie's Travel Tricks, where I have a blog and a free course and social media where my goal is to teach people how to travel with points so that they can keep more money in their pocket and stretch their travel budget further.
And I know we have a lot of different podcasters and bloggers and points and miles people on the podcast from time to time. But I have to tell you guys, if you haven't checked out Katie's Points for Normal People podcast, it is one of my favorite Points and Miles podcasts for the reason that she breaks things down into extremely digestible episodes. They're almost typically 20 to 30 minutes, not much longer. And she does different seasons. So season 1, if I remember correctly, was all Southwest. And it was, is that right?
Season 1 is Chase Ultimate Rewards.
Chase Ultimate Rewards, which is where I started. Okay.
Yeah.
So Chase Ultimate Rewards, which I have one
and kind of like an intro. It's sort of like the first 6 episodes are like, here's what you actually need to know.
Yeah. And if you're going to do like one thing, here's where you start. And that is where I started. The Chase Sapphire Preferred. It's the easiest way to learn. I have just one single episode, my listeners know, on how the transfer from Chase Ultimate Rewards to Hyatt was blowing my mind because I'm a newbie. And then it's like the first time you do that, my husband, who's such a budgeter and so financially frugal, was sitting next to me, and I'm like the travel lover and the dreamer. So he's going over his spreadsheet, his budget spreadsheet for our summer trips that are actually coming up now, Grand Canyon. And he's like, and how much for the hotel? And I was like, 0. And then he's like, next hotel, how much for the hotel? 0. So it took me a minute to get him on board as like my player too, because he doesn't love credit and all that stuff. But now he's like so on board. He's like, send me the referral. Here we go. If Points and Miles overwhelms you guys, because this isn't really a Points and Miles podcast, this is a destination podcast. Katie's Points for Normal People is a great place to start because she's got Chase Ultimate Rewards, which is super easy. And then she's got Southwest, which for a lot of us, like I live in Nashville, Southwest is a big hub for us. Having a companion pass or building up those points is huge. And then now she's going into different airline transfer partners and such. But anyhow, just a plug for your podcast. I'm not just saying that, I'm actually a fan. So I'm super happy to have you on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I really, when I created my podcast, I really wanted to make it a really good resource for people and honestly to teach it in a different way. So I've been using points myself for like 15 years, and I've been teaching people how to use points for 8 years. So I started my first blog about it in 2018. And I feel like, honestly, I'm getting better at teaching other people how to use points because it can feel like a steep learning curve, but I really feel like everyone can learn how to do it. And I feel like the way that it's often taught or talked about just leads people to getting discouraged or overwhelmed. And I really want to try to break that down. And that's what I try to do in the podcast. So I appreciate you plugging it and listening to, because that's my biggest goal, is to reach people and help them, like, just like you're saying, like that feeling of zeroing out your hotels on your travel budget. It's so nice because then you have that money, either you can put it in savings or you can, people use that different ways. Maybe they're putting it in savings. Maybe it's helping them with a medical expense, but maybe it's giving them a little splurge on the trip for something else, like an excursion. So all those things, I love all of it.
Yes, I think the most important thing is just remember baby steps. Like, just do one thing and then, get the Chase Sapphire Preferred, transfer some points to Hyatt, and go on one trip. It's like you got to take these baby steps to get farther along. And it's really funny because I'm a huge travel lover, always have been. And for the most part, up until a couple of years ago, paid cash. Like, we'd work hard, we'd save our money, we'd go on a trip. And it's funny now because I'm kind of getting like addicted to like trying to get it for free. And my husband and I, the other night, as we were like planning out our future travel, we were like, we can pay for something. Like, we could get the flights for free or the hotel for free. But hey, guess what? We could also like pay for this big excursion because the rest of the trip is zeroing out. So I have to remind myself, you could still pay for travel. Okay, let's get into these two resorts. We're going to do a bit of a Hyatt Ziva showdown. So we're going to compare two of the most popular resorts, and we're going to have Katie at the end maybe pick her favorite because she's been to both. These Hyatt Ziva properties are popular right now for a handful of reasons. First, they are Hyatt properties, which means if you are strategic and you plan ahead, you could potentially book them on points by transferring, as we were just talking about, Chase Ultimate Rewards points to your World of Hyatt account. Also, they are extremely family friendly with tons of amenities like water parks, so great for families with kids. And finally, they get a lot of strong reviews for great food and service, despite being an all-inclusive, which can always be a little tricky. So you have been to both the Hyatt Ziva Cap Cana, which is in the Dominican Republic, and the Hyatt Ziva Cancun, and we're going to break them down and get all the details. So let's first talk about booking. I saw something interesting when I was looking at your Instagram last night that blew my mind because I've been looking at these properties for months, trying to figure out if I can get my family there, and I can't get any rooms to come up on points when I'm looking for my entire family. So give people a little tip on when they're searching for these rooms, what they need to do.
Yeah, so the biggest thing, I mean, this is true for a lot of Hyatt all-inclusives, is you have to just search for two people. The way that Hyatt pricing works, if you're booking with points, is that for all-inclusives, it's giving you the price for just two people per room. But there's this other option where you can book the two adults into the room and then add the kids and pay in cash for the kids. And that also will make it come up easier because most of the hotels, they're also kind of programmed that they rarely will come up at all as available if you try to search for two adults and two kids with points, even though 100% like the standard rooms at both hotels fit adults and kids. It's just something weird about that way the IT works there.
So I heard you say that, and then I started searching and I'm like, oh, look, actually the dates I was looking at do have rooms available on points. I haven't booked anything yet, but I was able to see, oh yes, here are my points. I think it was, I can't remember how much per night. How much do you think they run per night? Is it like 35 or is it like 50? It's like 50.
So yeah, so both of those hotels now are category F, which means that the standard price is 50,000 points per night. If it's off-peak is going to be during hurricane season, which could be fine. We went off-peak. Well, it's not always. When we went to the Dominican Republic, it was off-peak and it was May. Off-peak pricing is 42,000 points per night. Peak pricing is 58,000 points per night. So that's going to be a lot of the, it is the best time to go. It's like January, February, those really cold months in the rest of the country are probably going to be at peak pricing. Hyatt sets whether a date is peak, off-peak, or standard a year in advance. So you can see that on their website. It will not show on the app, but it does show on their website. So you can see what the dates would cost.
Yeah. Okay. So the trick here is you would book, if you're trying to book on points, for example, of course you could not book on points and just do this the regular way. But if you're trying to book on points, you're going into your World of Hyatt account. You're looking for rooms at Hyatt Ziva, Cap Cana, or Cancun for two adults. Mm-hmm. And then if you find something you like, you can go ahead and book that. And then what you would do next is you either call and say, I'd like to add these 2 kids to my room, and they would give you the price point for adding those. Or you've even showed up and just set it at the resort, right? For some reason, that kind of scares me. I don't know why. I feel like they're going to like slap my hand, but.
So I do always recommend that people get in writing what the price is to add the kids in cash before they get there. Because it can vary. It seems like it's usually about $100 to $130, somewhere in there.
A night.
Per kid, per night. Usually that's going to be kids ages, I believe that's 4 to 12. So 3 is always a little bit murky. It feels like sometimes the 3-year-olds are free. Sometimes, it seems so silly to pay for that much for a 3-year-old because they can't even go to the kids club at these places. So it's like just kind of the 3-year-old is a tough age.
Yeah, and they hardly eat anything.
Pay for it.
Yeah.
The 2 and under are free for sure. And then 13 teenagers might likely cost more than that, which again is kind of frustrating because they're not drinking alcohol yet.
Right. But I will tell you that the teenagers are eating. Yeah. I'm like my 13-year-old daughter now. She's like, filet mignon, please. I'm like, excuse me.
Texting terms at unlock.com/SMS. Privacy policy at unlock.com/privacy-policy. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Terms and conditions apply. For full details, see unlock.com/legal. After portrayal.
Lisa, thanks for having me over. Your new kitchen is gorgeous. How'd you find the money to do it? We worked with this great company, Unlock. They help you unlock the future value of your home to get the cash you need today.
So it's a home equity loan?
No, it's not a loan at all. There's no monthly payments and no interest charges ever. And you can use the money however you want. We were able to redo our kitchen and pay off our credit card debt.
Wow, Jack and I could really use this to finally pay off our old student loan debt. How do I get started?
It's easy. Just go to their website.
Text EQUITY to 865-865 to unlock the value in your home and get up to $500,000 in cash with no monthly payments and no interest ever. Pay off debt, improve your home, add to your retirement fund. It's up to you. Text EQUITY to 865-865. Text the word EQUITY to 865-865. Text EQUITY to 865-865 now.
I'd get it in writing. So personally, what I would do is email the hotel, not World of Hyatt, because World of Hyatt, those rates are actually coming from the hotel, the price for cash for kids. So find an email for the front desk of the hotel or the general manager or something like that, and then ask them, can you confirm, like, this is my reservation number. Can you confirm the price to add a kid of this age? And then you have it in writing for when you get to the hotel. You usually, in our experience, we've never been able to pay that cash fee for the kids until we check in at the hotel.
Okay, but you just had it in writing so that if, like, for some reason they decided to go up, you're like, oh, I actually have this email that said, here's our rate.
Right.
In your experience, do you know if you can book 5 in one room if you called and had those 3 kids? So you booked a 2 queen and then, a rollaway or a pull-out sofa?
I believe that in Dominican Republic that the rooms do have occupancy for 5, the standard occupancy, because it's 2 queen beds and a sofa bed.
Okay, amazing.
That is my memory, that I've never taken 5. We only have 2 kids, but in Cancun, we've gone with my sister and brother, and they both have 3 kids. I'm pretty sure we just booked 2 adults because at this point we've been to that property a lot, so we're like, it's gonna be fine. He has 3 kids, and they just made him sign a waiver at check-in saying that he wanted a rollaway, and he understood that it was like
tight or something,
really tight, or maybe a fire code violation. I don't know what the waiver said. It was really tight when he had 2 queen beds and a rollaway. Okay. And his daughter, I think, was 5 at that time, so she wasn't a baby.
We have 3 kids, so I'm always wondering. And these all-inclusives, it's really hard to book 2 rooms and make it make sense with points or whatever. And so I'm always trying to figure out what the best, there's other places that aren't Hyatts that you can get like a 2 or 3 bedroom, which is interesting to us. So I was just curious if you knew, but it sounds like it would be something, maybe calling the property even before I booked the 2 adults on points and just asking what their protocol is.
Yeah. And that for sure, you have to ask the property directly, not World of Hyatt, because World of Hyatt's going to see this like generic occupancy information, but the front desk can actually tell you what their policies are.
Okay, good to know. Okay, let's get into these resorts. I want to start with the Hyatt Ziva Cap Cana because it seems to be the most coveted of the 2 right now and is really a showstopper of a resort. This resort is located in the Dominican Republic, not too far from the Punta Cana airport. So let's start with how you guys get there.
Coming from Chicago, there is a nonstop on Southwest. So we generally fly on Southwest. At least when we went, it was only a once a week nonstop. So we actually planned our trip around when there was the nonstop, because that's kind of how we roll. We'd rather fly nonstop if we can and just plan around that.
And you've been to Cap Cana once, right?
Yep, just once.
Okay. And on this trip, I stalked your Instagram stories, highlight bubbles. So it seems like you guys stayed the first night or two or even portion of the trip in an Airbnb before you transferred over to the Hyatt Ziva. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
So was this because you wanted to take advantage of those direct flights and then you were like, well, we're down there and we're not going to stay at Hyatt Ziva for 6 or 7 nights. So you had to figure out another plan.
Yep, exactly. So I think with Southwest, we had to be there a week if we wanted to take those nonstop flights. And for us, a week is too long at the Ziva properties. The Airbnb we had booked, and again, this was pricing a couple years ago, but it was really cheap. And so it was $100 a night and still on the beach. And so it was a nice way to ease in. I always, as an aside, I always recommend if you're going to do a nice all-inclusive and something else, to always do the something else first.
Good call.
You do not want to do your all-inclusive first and then have to kind of go backwards, because it's just mentally tough.
Yes.
And that's honestly one of the things I recommend to people. If you're going to do excursions, book somewhere else first. Do your excursions while you're at that other cheaper place, and then go to the all-inclusive. Because I'm a big, especially for these, like the Ziva properties, they're so nice. I feel like you shouldn't be leaving once you're there.
That's
this
a
is what you
really
paid
good
for.
point. I never even thought about that. Like if you're going on an all-day snorkeling excursion or something, why would you be paying for this gorgeous all-inclusive? You should do that at a cheaper hotel. And that's so smart.
So that's one of my all-inclusive tips.
Okay. When you said you personally don't like being or can't be at the Ziva for the whole week, is that pricing related, or just after so many days, you're like, okay, that was fun, but we need a break from all the hype?
I think for us, it's both. We're really frugal in our heart. And so
In our heart. My husband would love you guys.
We have a hard time not trying to maximize experiences. And so if we're at an all-inclusive, it's like we just want to like eat everything. We want to try everything. We want to do the activities. And it's lovely, but it's also really hard to do that in moderation.
Yeah. After so many days, you're like, okay.
Maybe we could, if we were a different kind of vacationer and we were like a moderate vacationer, maybe we could do that.
You guys go all in when you're at the all-inclusive.
Just like, we're all in. So for us, 4 nights is like the perfect amount of time, I think. After that, we're kind of like, okay, that was like super great. I'm so relaxed. I love it. My belly's so full, and I'm ready to go home.
That's a great point. When you were at the Airbnb, did you feel safe? Because I don't know, something about when I think about Mexico and the Dominican Republic and not being in one of these like gated resort communities, I always wonder how it would feel if I just like booked an Airbnb and showed up.
We felt safe. I think we're not always the best gauge for how other people might feel, just in that like
it's definitely a personal preference. Yeah.
It's a personal thing. We've done a lot of traveling, and we've done a lot of traveling on a budget to like a lot of different, Southeast Asia and different places, so that we don't really ever feel unsafe. Yeah.
Majority of humans are good humans, right?
Unless someplace, the State Department of, like, my gauge is literally the State Department website.
Yeah.
So if it says do not go to a place, I don't go to that place. But if it says that the main issue in that place is petty crime, like I
you're like, I live in Chicago. So
yeah, I live in Chicago. Like it says that about Rome too. Like I'm more concerned for pickpocketing in Rome than I would be crime in the Dominican Republic.
Okay, let's talk about transferring over to the Hyatt Ziva Cap Cana. So what is it like initially showing up to this resort? What are you seeing and what's the vibe?
I mean, it is a beautiful resort. So even walking in, really big, open lobby. They had this really cool like living wall behind the reception desk, just with these beautiful, I don't know if they were succulents or moss, But
yeah, I saw that in your video, kind of like a living plant wall that went all the way up and even onto the ceiling. Just so like refreshing and lively looking.
Yeah. It's definitely a luxury feel when you walk in. The bell man is like giving you a towel to like wash your face off. You're gonna, you go check in and they just, there's like little drinks available. So it's just like
a high level of service.
Just a really nice entry experience.
Yes. I saw in your stories that it looked very open air. And you had even mentioned that right there in the main lobby is a coffee shop and a bar, kind of if you're
Yeah.
back in that lobby at any time. And it had a really nice view overlooking the main pools. So just kind of one of those vacation destination lobbies where you show up and you immediately feel like we've arrived. We're on vacation.
Exactly. Yep.
And hopefully when you check in, your room's ready. But tell us about the rooms. I believe you were upgraded to club level. So I'm not sure if you paid for that or not, but tell us about the room that you were in and what it was like.
I believe that the rooms at Cap Cana are literally all the same. Club level is just a higher floor.
Oh, interesting.
And a little bit of a better view. But
Okay.
it isn't that different. But I believe that the rooms are pretty much identical. Club level gave us a concierge or a butler. Maybe they called him a butler. And access to one more restaurant. And we didn't pay for that. That's just because we have like high level Hyatt status because we stay at so many Hyatts during the year. We were in the 2 queens with the sofa bed, but I don't even think we used the sofa bed. It's a fairly new resort, so everything is still really new and nice. There's a mini bar that even it's stocked, and so because it's all inclusive, all of those things are included, which is with kids, those little things are just so nice because obviously as a parent, you have to say no all the time to things. And it's nice to have a break from saying no so much and to just say like, yes, you can take the snacks from the mini bar at this place. That's
yes,
fine.
it's nice for them and us because I feel like I grew up like, don't touch the mini bar. And then you're like, raid the mini bar. They restock it every day.
Yeah. And all the rooms have a really nice little balcony that has some seating out there too. They're kind of a standard hotel room size. It's like 2 queen beds, a nice bathroom, a sofa bed, but then you get this nice balcony too.
Let's talk about how the property is laid out in the grounds. So kind of give us an overview of the pools and the beach area.
If you can imagine the hotel in the middle in a way, but it's in a U shape. In the middle of the U are the main pools. And then beyond sort of the end of the U is the beach. And then behind the U is a water park that has some nice slides. And then the entertainment stage where they do the entertainment at night. And then the kids club is kind of back like kind of on the behind part of the U, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The pools in the middle, I thought they were beautiful. I mean, it doesn't have a classic, like really big expanse pool. They're kind of like these organically shaped pools.
Yeah, kind of like natural shaped, kind of
like little curve. So it feels much more private in a way than some places that have just like a big old pool. But
you kind of find your spot and you're kind of in your little spot.
Like, and there was like lots of little seating options and you find your spot. If you had little kids that you were worried about, if you wanted a 0 entry depth, that's on the backside where the water park is. So the water park, I think generally they're trying to make the water park more the, like the family, like
kid zone
vibe. And they're trying to keep the other pools maybe a little calmer in the vibe.
Yes.
And then the beach is really nice white sand, although depending on the season, there could be seaweed out there. So they have a truck that's pulling away the sea. When we were there was a truck every day trying to pull away the seaweed.
Mm-hmm. What do they call it again? It's like sargassum
or something.
Yeah. Every time I'm looking at resorts on like Hyatt websites or wherever, there's always that like pop-up that comes up. Like it could have high levels, but I feel like it's just everywhere.
Yeah. I think that's just a big problem they're having in the Caribbean in general right now. So we didn't feel like the beach was swimmable just because of the seaweed.
Yeah, especially with kids that get grossed out by it. They're like, I don't want to wade through that. Yeah. Okay. Good to know.
But we were there in May. So I do think that there are seasons to it because I've talked to people who are there other times and I can't remember when it was, but probably if you do if someone wanted to know, they could really dig into reviews.
Or do a deep dive onto like Google or Chat GPT about like the seaweed levels at different months, at different islands. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Because that if swimming in the ocean is important. So like my kids, although anytime we actually go to an ocean and swim in it, they're always happy. They don't like the idea of going out on the sand. Like they're just like, oh, I don't want to get sandy.
I'm the same. I'm a pool girl.
So they're like, well, let's just stay by the pool anyway. But I'm like, why are we not in the, why are
we,
not in
we
the
booked
ocean?
this place on the ocean. Come on.
Texting terms at unlock.com/SMS. Privacy policy at unlock.com/privacy-policy. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Terms and conditions apply. For full details, see unlock.com/legal. Actor portrayal.
Lisa, thanks for having me over. Your new kitchen is gorgeous. How'd you find the money to do it? We worked with this great company, Unlock. They help you unlock the future value of your home to get the cash you need today.
So it's a home equity loan?
No, it's not a loan at all. There's no monthly payments and no interest charges ever. And you can use the money however you want. We were able to redo our kitchen and pay off our credit card debt.
Wow, Jack and I could really use this to finally pay off our old student loan debt. How do I get started?
It's easy. Just go to their website.
Text EQUITY to 865-865 to unlock the value in your home and get up to $500,000 in cash with no monthly payments and no interest ever. Pay off debt, improve your home, add to your retirement fund. It's up to you. Text EQUITY to 865-865. Text the word EQUITY to 865-865. Text EQUITY to 865-865 now.
Okay, so we've got the pools, we've got the beach, which could be hit or miss. We've got the water park. Is the water park pretty substantial? Like kids can spend a good amount of time there?
Yeah, I mean, I think if your kids really like water slides, there's some pretty good water slides there. And then there's a couple food trucks over there.
Oh, cute.
By the water park. Because the restaurants are all kind of within the hotel sort of U shape, or there's some like right in the middle by the pools. But then there are a few little food options in the back.
Nice.
By the water park too.
So that if you're over there and you don't want to walk all the way back, you can grab something from a food truck.
Yeah.
Okay, and then kids club. What was that like? Did your kids visit it?
My kids never go to kids club.
Yeah, I know. Wishful thinking.
I never speak to it very much. It looked nice. I mean, they had their own little, they have their own location. Generally, I think that the Ziva does a good job with, I think as a brand, they do a good job with the kids clubs. I wouldn't be concerned about ever sending my kids there if they were actually willing to go.
Yeah, I was looking at, it was your stories or someone else's, I can't remember now, but they looked light and bright and modern. And there's usually a schedule each day. So it's not like a Disney cruise where you're like sending them for a ton of hours. It might be like they want to go to bracelet making or they want to go to make a hat and then you pick them back up. Or it looked like even sometimes activities might be happening near the kids club and you could leave your kids or you could stay with them if they wanted to do an activity. So it's kind of like flexible. You had posted in one of your stories like a sample of the daily activities, just kind of a little snapshot of, each day there's a lot going on. And just for people listening, some things that you could expect. This was just one day. And it had like beach games, arts and crafts by the pool, movie time in the kids club, painting at the beach, science time in the kids club, beach volleyball, beach soccer, evening entertainment. So there's a lot going on throughout the day. And I know all families are different. Some love that schedule and are like, sign me up for everything. And some kind of want to chill on their pool chairs, but there's definitely options throughout the day. What about, I know a lot of these resorts have like the non-motorized water options. So do they have like the paddle boards and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, at least when we were there, they did have paddle boards. The thing that I loved the most there, because the water was really calm, so it was a good spot for paddleboarding. It wasn't big waves. They had catamarans when we were there, which was really fun. So being able to take out a little sailboat,
like a mini catamaran?
Yeah, like a little mini catamaran. And so we got to do that just like with our kids a couple times. And that
did
was
you
really
have
fun.
A guide or did you just do it?
No, you just went. There was a defined area that you were allowed.
I feel like I would be really bad at it and I would just be sailing into the ocean.
I think that the worst case scenario is you just kind of like let go of the rope and then you wouldn't go. You know what I mean? If you'd
stop moving,
you would just stop and then you would like hook your arm around your catamaran and like swim or walk it back to shore.
Okay, so it's not like that intense.
It wasn't like super intense, but that was really fun because that's one of those things that we never like to pay for stuff like that if we don't know if our kids are going to like it.
Right.
So it's a really fun way to be able to try that out.
Awesome. Let's talk about food at Cap Cana. So is there one main spot for breakfast, like a big breakfast buffet, or are there lots of different options? Can you visit restaurants? How does breakfast work?
Pretty much everyone eats at the buffet. And then I know that because we had club access, we were allowed to eat breakfast at this other restaurant that is on the beach.
Nice.
But I'm pretty sure that otherwise it's just at the buffet. But people hear buffet, and I know it like makes people nervous when you hear buffet, but The buffet there is so good. And they'll make you made to order stuff at the buffet too. It's not like like a Holiday Inn Express buffet breakfast. It's like nothing like that. It's huge. They're going to have tons of fruits and smoothies and tons of pastries and made to order eggs and yogurt and granola and so many delicious things. So we love the buffet because
I love a breakfast buffet, especially a nice
really
breakfast
good
buffet.
Food there. Yeah, I mean, this is a really nice breakfast buffet. So it's going to be good.
And then what are your go-to spots for lunch here? Are you typically just grabbing something on the go at a food truck, or are there other spots to sit down and grab lunch?
Yeah, there is a restaurant right kind of in the middle.
Kind of in the middle of all the pools.
Middle of all the pools. And then there would be, the buffet would be open again. So I think it just depends. For some people like us, we're more likely to try to get something quick for lunch because we're kind of eat breakfast, be out, lunch. Maybe we'll have lunch, try to do something quick. Our kids aren't as excited, even now at their age, to just sit down at a restaurant and just really enjoy a meal. Yeah. We were always trying to get quicker things. One of the things that, this is more of the comparison, but there wasn't any place, and unless this has changed, there wasn't any place where adults could eat and the kids could just be nearby playing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's a huge point.
We kind of missed out. We missed that at this resort because my kids would play if it was the sand or the pool or whatever, and we could just be really close.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point.
Was always great for us. And the way that the restaurants were set up, there wasn't anything like that there.
What about dinner? Did they have some of those typical, the sushi spot and the steakhouse and that sort of thing? And do you need reservations for these places?
I think it's good to have reservations because then you can just know when you're going. My vacation personality is that I hate having to have reservations in advance because I have no idea how I'm going to be feeling. And if the kids are having fun at the pool, I hate having to leave because I had this reservation.
That's a common theme on this podcast. A lot of people don't love a dinner reservation. It's so funny because I love a dinner reservation. I've got those booked out 6 months in advance at the best place at the best time at sunset. And I'm we're going to the dinner reservation. But yeah, so everybody's different. But that's a very common thing on this podcast. People are I don't want to be held to something when my kids could be playing perfectly while the sun's setting on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's going to come down to personal preference. But I think what's nice is you can look at the menus. You should be able to look at the menus before you even get there. And so you can see oh, we really like this kind of food, so we should go to this place for dinner. And we often especially if we're going to somewhere the first time, to just do a different place for dinner every night.
Yeah, just check it out.
Check it out. I will say, even back to the buffet, when we were there, one of the buffet nights, it was having sushi and sashimi night at the buffet. And that was amazing. They just had a sushi chef, if that's what that's called.
Yeah.
Just preparing hand rolls for everybody right there.
I saw that in your stories and it looked like very fresh fish, super high end. It was sashimi station and then there was a poke bowl station, which my whole family loves poke bowls. So it's you're at the buffet, but you're getting freshly sliced nigiri sushi. So
yeah. And I also will say a great thing about all inclusives is that room service is included too. So for people to remember, so that can also be a really good option for lunch if you are I don't know if your kids need to take a nap and and sometimes it takes a little bit longer, right, to get the room service. But if you can plan ahead and just okay, we're going to take a nap and you just order room service, it comes and then they're then room service is there when they wake up, or you just are eating your room service out on the balcony while they sleep.
It's so fun. I feel there's nothing bougier than room service. I love a room service moment.
Yep, us too.
Okay. And then what about tipping after these meals? Are you tipping? I always get confused at all inclusives. I was recently at one and some of them are don't tip. Some of them are do tip. It's some are included. How did you feel about tipping?
We always tip. Officially, Hyatt Zivas will say that tips are included, but we just always tip anyway, because even just out of the sense of, we paid, a very discounted, you know what I mean? We paid
that's a good point.
A fraction of the price, and we're just aware of the disparities of the world, and we would rather just be generous with what we have, and we're not tipping a ton, we might, after a meal, we might leave $3 to $5 on the table, and we'll tip $1 per drink usually.
Yeah. And are you tipping in American dollars?
We always just tip in American dollars.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Good to know. Just easy, things that people it's like prepping for a trip. It's like, oh my gosh, can I tip in
So one of the
regular
things
dollars?
on our trip list is always go to the bank and get 100 $1 bills.
Yeah, we're always so bad at that. We're getting better, but it's like just one more thing to remember amidst all the packing and passports and all the things. And it's like, you really do need ones and fives.
Yep.
Yeah. 100 $1 bills. I've never done that. That feels like a big wad of cash.
Well, they're all like packaged already. They'll just like give it to you. So
yeah, true. From the bank, it's like packaged up. How are the drinks? And I'm assuming there's lots of little bars where you can go grab a drink. Is there any payment level difference? You know, some places have the top shelf stuff you have to pay more for, or you can pay for. How does that work with the all-inclusive price?
Oh, that's a good question because we would never pay. We don't even look if it's on the menu. There might be.
Let's chat GPT it really quick.
I bet there is a top shelf price, but we never get fancy alcohol. We just get the stuff that's included.
I love it. I'm still going back to when you said we're frugal at heart.
If we're doing an all-inclusive, it's because it's included. We're not getting upsold on the tomahawk steak or the, whatever else, the lobster.
Yeah. You're like, get that truffle out of my face. Okay. I chat GBT'd, are all alcoholic drinks included at Hyatt Ziva or are there top shelf? Do you use chat GPT yet?
I'm weird and I'm just like anti-chat GPT.
Anti-AI.
I'm anti-AI.
It knows everything about me at this point. If you say, tell me something about myself, it's like, hi, where you live, the names of your kids. I'm like, oh, you know me better than I know myself. Okay. Yes. At Hyatt Ziva resorts, including locations like Cancun, all alcoholic drinks are included in the all-inclusive package, and that includes premium top shelf liquors. You can enjoy a wide selection of spirits. Some guests have even reported finding high-end options like Gentleman Jack at select venues. So it sounds like for the most part, you could probably get whatever your heart desires at these Hyatt Zivas.
Yeah, if you know what to ask for.
Yeah.
For full details, including terms and conditions, visit unlock.com/legal. Call 1-888-780-6854 to speak with a representative today. Actor portrayal. Terms and conditions apply.
Lisa, thanks for having me over. Your new kitchen is gorgeous. How'd you find the money to do it? We worked with this great company, Unlock. They help you unlock the future value of your home to get the cash you need today.
So it's a home equity loan?
No, it's not a loan at all. There's no monthly payments and no interest charges ever. And you can use the money however you want. We were able to redo our kitchen and pay off our credit card debt.
Wow, Jack and I could really use this to finally pay off our old student loan debt. How do I get started?
It's easy. Just give him a call or go to unlock.com.
Call 1-888-780-6854 to unlock the value in your home and get up to $500,000 in cash with no monthly payments and no interest ever. Use the money for home improvements, to pay off debt, or to add to your retirement fund. It's up to you. Visit unlock.com. That's unlock.com or call 1-888-780-6854 now to get started.
Okay, what about evening entertainment? How is it? Is it entertaining? Is it a skip for you? What do you think?
We definitely went to some of the entertainment and I thought it was good. I just didn't, where the stage was behind the resort. And for some reason, it felt a little bit like I didn't like the stage. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like back behind the resort.
When we were there, they would have like some more kid entertainment. And then I think a little bit later they would have, not that it was adult entertainment, but just they definitely, sometimes they even had multiple shows. We love the entertainment because we feel like, again, we're just getting our money's worth because we didn't have to pay for a circus show this year because we just saw it at the resort. So we usually always go.
I know we've talked about a lot of the things that you guys like to do, but tell us about a typical day for your family at the Hyatt Ziva Cap Cana from like sun up to sundown. Just if you could describe a typical day.
Like wake up, often my husband or I, while the kids are sleeping, one of us goes to the coffee shop and gets coffee. Or because at the coffee shop, I didn't really talk about this, but that's one of the other things I love is the coffee shop where you can get like any you can get like essentially a frappuccino or you can get a latte or whatever you want. It's just included. So that always feels fun instead of paying $7 or whatever it costs at Starbucks. And then we usually go, we are chair savers. I'm just going to say it. Yeah. We're those people because we wake up early enough to save chairs anyway. And I am kind of type A I usually have the chairs that I think are the best for us. You're
like, I see the best chairs and they will be ours tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, Like the first day I'm scouting it out, and then the next day I'm like, that's fine. What time do I have to wake up? But we often will do something where like either in the morning or the afternoon, like one of them we often are at the pool and one we're often at the beach. You know, save our chairs, then go to breakfast. And then we just get out to the pool and just kind of hang out all morning.
And when you're saving your chairs at an all-inclusive like this, I feel like towels won't just do it. So what else are you leaving that you aren't scared it's going to get taken? Although everybody at these resorts paid an arm and a leg or a good amount of points to be there. So, yeah. Do you leave stuff though on the chairs?
Yeah, I would probably just leave. I might leave like a hat or maybe
like a kid's pool stuff.
Or our two. We also always travel with inner tubes for the kids or pool, like big inflatable pool things. So we would leave those down there too.
Nice. Okay.
Because we don't want to take those to breakfast anyway. So it's like we would do that. And so then we're just like down at the pool. We're probably getting halfway through the morning. We're going to get another snack because
you can.
It's all inclusive because we can. Figure out lunch, whether we're doing that in the room or going to the restaurant or the buffet. And then we usually go back. We try to go back to the room for a little bit, especially just when those sun rays are at the peak, and just to kind of have a little bit of downtime before we'll go back out in the afternoon. In this case, we might go, if we were at the main pool, we might go to the water park in the afternoon to kind of switch it up, or we might go to if we wanted to be out at the beach and do the beach games, stuff like that. Come back when we're done, shower, get ready for dinner, go to the show, and go to bed and be exhausted.
Yeah. Do it all again the next day. I love it. Do you ever leave the resort? I know you were actually at the Airbnb, so you weren't on the resort the entire time. But when you go to one of these resorts, I feel like we already talked about this. You really try not to leave because you want to take advantage of everything it has to offer.
Yep. We do not leave the resort.
Do you feel like for non-early risers, it would be hard to find chairs? Or do you think usually there are enough chairs, they just might not be in the ideal location?
When we were there, I don't actually remember it being hard to find chairs. I always would hope that at a resort that's this expensive, they're like counting the number of chairs that they need and have the appropriate number of chairs.
Right. Okay, let's move on to Hyatt Ziva Cancun, which you've been to, do I have this right, 5 times?
Yes.
Okay, so you're officially an expert. You could be a spokesperson for them.
The first time we went, it was like a month after they'd opened that property.
Oh, wow.
So we have seen it since it opened.
First, this is a little confusing, but there are actually 2 Hyatt Zivas in the Cancun area. The one we're talking about today is called Hyatt Ziva Cancun, but there's another one, Hyatt Ziva Riviera Cancun. Are you familiar with the difference between these two?
Yep, and we've never stayed at the Riviera Cancun. It's a lot cheaper, cash and points-wise, to stay there. And it's farther south.
Kind of like Riviera Maya, probably, since it's called Riviera. Yeah,
exactly. I know people that stay there who have liked it. It's definitely not the same quality. It's definitely not the same level as the Hyatt Ziva Cancun. And that's just it's literally half the points price. It's probably close to, it might be half the cash price too. It might be like, maybe it's, not quite half the cash price. So I just think it's hard to compare apples to apples because you're not paying, it's not the same price point.
Yeah. It doesn't have as many amenities. It's not the same type of resort. So I just want to let people know when they're looking, if you're like, oh, look at this cheap price. Well, make sure you're booking Hyatt Ziva Cancun if you want to book what we're going to be talking about today, because the other one is a completely different resort, but it kind of sounds similar.
Yep.
Since you've been 5 times, you probably remember this process. How do you typically get from the airport to the resort in Cancun?
We always book with Happy Shuttle. So you're going to book a shuttle. Personally, we always just use Happy Shuttle because that's who we used the first time and we've never had a bad experience. So I will say it is not relaxing to land at the airport in Cancun because
100%. I recently did it.
You just really have to get in the mentality, like as soon as you're off the plane, like you are not in the United States. You're in a country that is going to be a lot more relaxed about some things. It's just a different culture. So
there are 3,000 people waiting in a big herd. And you're like, can I form lines for people? Should I get involved? There's no lines. There's no rhyme or reason. You're like, how are we getting through? Although, can't you pay for like some sort of a fast pass thing to get through that quicker?
That you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, it is a little chaotic. You're like, we're frugal at heart and we don't pay for the fast pass.
We've never looked into that. We just make our kids stand in line. And that's one reason why, but Cancun for us is still always like cheaper. There's so many nonstops. So I just want people to know, like, it is going to feel like you're going to feel stressed until you walk into the Ziva Cancun.
Yeah. Okay. I have to insert this. My travel agent that I used for my 40th birthday, a group of girlfriends and I went to the Atelier property in the Cancun area, all inclusive. And she sent us all an email with a map of the Cancun airport. And there was a red line going through the airport. And she said, walk along this red line. Do not look up. Do not make eye contact. Do not talk to anybody until you see the sky and the sun in the sky. And we were all dying laughing. We were like, oh my gosh. It was like, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Literally head down once you get your luggage all the way to and we booked our transfer and we were looking for our names, but there are 9 billion transfers all holding the signs up. But before you get to the people with the signs, there are another 9 billion people shouting at you because they want you to take their taxi service or book their excursion. So yeah, it was very like head down, don't look up until you get all the way to, in your case, Happy Shuttle.
Happy Shuttle has like lime green stuff. Exactly. So I think that's what it's like. You just got to know. And then you're going to get out of the airport and it's going to be so hot. And so it's like, you're tired. You were on the plane. You stood in this line. You get out of the airport. People are trying to sell you stuff. And then you're like, it's hot and humid. And you just,
your kids are like, what are you doing to us?
You got to get to your shuttle. And then it's even going to take some time because usually the shuttle driver has to radio somebody and then they have to bring the shuttle around and then they finally get there and load you up. And you just have to prepare for that. That's
the Hyatt Ziva is coming. You got to battle through the airport before you get there.
Yes. But then they take you in the shuttle and hopefully traffic isn't too bad because it should really only take like 30 to 45 minutes. But then they pull up to the Ziva. And, you get out and they're going to get your bags out for you and they're handing you the towel. And it's just immediately you're like, okay, this was worth it. Right. It's
yes.
Like, sometimes I think about how different destinations, how long do you have to be there before the travel to get there feels worth it? Because some places are just like, depending on where you're coming from, you know what I mean? They take different amounts of time. For us, Cancun, it's always worth it. Like 10 minutes after we get to the resort, we're like, oh, it's worth it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we did it. It's worth it.
Amazing. So tell us what it's like initially showing up to this lobby in this resort. What's the vibe? Is it also open air? Are you immediately seeing, the beautiful pools and ocean and everything?
Yeah. So this is I'd say a smaller lobby in a sense. So you do walk in and they do have this amazing view. I think that the Hyatt Ziva Cancun has the best location on the Cancun hotel strip. I don't know if anyone disputes that. I feel like it's a fact.
Great.
Because basically, for people to understand, it's on a peninsula. And so it has like multiple sides that have a beach.
That's
and then
awesome.
It also has this rocky peninsula as well. It's just a lot more relaxed than every other hotel in the hotel strip. But when you walk in, you can look out right away and just see the pools and then the water behind it. And the water is always this beautiful. If the sun's out, the water's a beautiful turquoise color. And it has a better view of the pools, if that makes sense. Like the pools at Cap Cana are really cool as far as how they are organically, and the landscaping is really cool there. The Ziva has a more impressive pool from up above to look at.
That's what I got from your stories. That both have beautiful open air lobbies and are gorgeous views, but Cap Cana, it's more kind of like there's a lot of lush plants and then the pools are all kind of separate. So you kind of see a resort out there that's pretty. There's a lot going on. And then Cancun was very clearly like beautiful pool, beautiful ocean in the distance, like all just kind of like one of those
and it's an infinity pool,
views.
So you're just like, okay, we're here.
Yes. Tell us about the rooms here. And you do have a tip about which level to stay on or which level you guys like to stay on?
We have our ways of doing things because we've been there 5 times. I will tell you what we love, and there are other people who probably love different things than us, but we've always stayed, and they'll make more sense. Like if you see the property, if you're there, we've always stayed in the pyramid. So basically there's a tower, that has an elevator that goes up really high. And then there's this kind of, they call it the pyramid because it's like a triangle. We've always stayed on the pyramid. I don't know. There's something for me. I don't really like having to use an elevator to go up to a lot of, I don't know.
I have to wait and I
don't like the elevator. I think some people like that. Probably they like that because it's a better view.
The high level view. Yeah.
And maybe you don't, I've actually never been in those rooms, even though we've been there five times. I've never even been in the rooms that are in the tower because we just always want to stay in the pyramid. So in the pyramid, what we really love, and this is an upgrade, but what we ask for is oceanfront, like ground level rooms, because the backside of the pyramid faces out on the ocean. And because it's this peninsula, you like can't even see any other hotels. You're just looking straight out at the ocean, which I love because I love feeling like I'm not in the middle of the hotel's zone.
Yeah.
Cancun. And then the ground level rooms specifically have these hammocks, and then you can walk straight out to like there's a little grassy area. It's not really like nice grass to play in because, you know, like a lot of places like this that are tropical, you can't grow like grass like that we think about. It's kind of this spongy stuff. But still, for squirrely kids, it's really nice to be on that ground level if you can get it, because the hammock is really nice. And then the just being able for the kids to walk out a little bit in the grass and stuff. We really like those rooms.
How do you ensure that you're in the pyramid? Do you email ahead of time? Do you ask when you get there? How do you make sure that you're not in the tower rooms?
I think that the pyramid is standard. So I feel like that's honestly what most people get. But we always email ahead of time. For the Ziva, we're always emailing ahead of time because I'm so...
Yeah, you're like, I basically work there now.
what I want.
I'm coming back.
But I encourage people to email. I honestly email about most hotels that we go to. I'm not often asking for some big upgrade, but even just like a small request. So like whether it's, okay, can we, like my sister and I are going together, can you put our rooms together? Or I email those requests like about a month in advance because I know that they don't mind a lot of that stuff. They don't mind doing it. It's just that if you get there and you ask for it, they probably can't because of how they assigned other people's rooms.
Yeah. And some hotels you hear back from and they're so kind and polite, and sometimes you don't. And it's fine. It's like, you know, you asked, you tried, you can ask again at the desk, but it never hurts to ask. What I typically do just for people for all different types of resorts is you can seriously just in Google put, let's just make up a different one. Like I'm going to the Grand Hyatt in Scottsdale soon. Grand Hyatt Scottsdale, and then I'll just put a bunch of keywords in. Front desk manager, LinkedIn. I put all those words in my search, and then 9 times out of 10, the hotel manager, front desk manager at that location has a LinkedIn page because they're proud of their job, and you can see, oh, this person lives in Phoenix. And then you search, most people probably know this at this point, but you just Google or ChatGPT, what is the email address format for Hyatt? Yeah. It comes back and you literally email that person. You just say, hi, you know, I'm Kelsey. I'm going to be on property and whatever your request is. And sometimes you hear back, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get a bounce back and the email format you got to mess with. But for the most part, it's worth trying. Let's talk about how this property is laid out in the grounds, the pools and the beach. Let's kind of go over how this one looks.
Yep. So this is definitely so it's a different shape. So kind of like you have your lobby and sort of restaurant area going parallel to the beach. In front of the lobby is the main pool area. Pyramid part kind of comes out like an L shape. And then beyond, on the backside of the pyramid is kind of open ocean and a little bit of a peninsula with a lighthouse on it.
Oh, cute.
And then behind the lobby is another pool with, that's kind of where the tower starts. And then there's another pool and then another really big beach behind that. There is a walkway and there is a beach out there that is a shallow beach. So it's like enough for a couple rows of chairs and then water to be in. It's not a really wide expanse beach. You can't really walk on that beach because it does sort of, there's like a couple piers. There's, it goes to another resort. It's just a little bit more broken up.
Yeah, that was my experience when I was last in the Cancun area. Is like they've got their little beachy area, but then sometimes there's like rocks, or sometimes there's another resort, or something. It's just like not these big, long beach walk areas.
But on the back of the resort here, it is. So this is, again, this is like why I love this resort, because you can have whatever beach experience you want. So the back of the resort is this really wide beach expanse. And then there are chairs back there too. There's like umbrellas back there. It's a really wide beach. And from that beach, you can walk that beach. You could walk that beach for probably a mile.
Oh, nice.
And stay along that beach if you want to walk along the beach. You are going to be in front of different hotels, but we always like to then be like, what's going on at that hotel? Like, is that hotel better? And then we're like, no, it's not. We're at the best hotel. So like the sort of the main pool area, there's a nice, really shaded area above this shallow pool that's like, it's like 1.5 feet deep or something. And there is a drop off. It's a pretty big pool. And then there's a drop off to like a 4-foot deep pool. But especially for little kids, it's a really nice spot to hang out because the actual pool is shaded most of the day.
And it's shallow.
So you can kind of just like play around there a lot. And then there's also there's an infinity pool. There's a swim up bar.
The swim up bar looked really pretty. You had a photo of that, and it was like the whole pool was like blue tiled, and then the bar stools were like a really pretty blue tile, and it just looked like a lovely swim up bar.
Yes, it is. And that's the unfortunate thing about taking your kids there since they're little is they're all like, you go anywhere else. Like, can I go to the swim up bar? And I'm like, no, we can't afford that. Like,
yeah, right. Exactly.
Not get another smoothie because they're used to the Ziva where they just swim up and they're like, can I have a strawberry daiquiri, please?
Right.
Like, oh my gosh.
Hey, you're working hard on those points and miles to give him those experiences.
Yeah.
And then water park here as well.
There is not really a water park here.
Okay, good to know.
There is a little mini water park connected to the kids club, and there are times where anyone can go in. That's like an open time,
kind of like a little splash pad with a little slide and the bucket dumping.
There's the slide and bucket area, and then there's one decent slide there that's like basically a big ramp slide.
Okay.
With like 3 different slides
that like older kids could maybe enjoy for a little bit.
But it's definitely not like if what really was going to make your kids happy is big water slides, this is not the place for that.
Good to know.
But for younger kids, it's still enough that it's still fun. For that.
Okay. And what other activities stand out here for you? I saw that you guys were doing an Aqua Strong workout class. So it seems like there's a lot of fitness classes and a lot of things going on throughout the day.
Yeah, and that's one thing we love. I think there's just something because of the way the pool is set up there. A lot of those activities, they're just like right in the middle of everything.
Yeah, big main pool.
Yeah, so it's a big main pool. So like, and they're kind of like trying to get people involved. You know, they have some really fun people on the entertainment team who are just really charismatic and really high energy. And so we've been with my whole extended family a number of times too. So like the last time we went, we had 16 people with us. So we have a lot of different personalities, right? But like we love it because the extroverts and the busybodies can just like do all the things they can. And then the people who don't want to do that can just kind of hang out in a beach chair. And then we're still fairly close to each other. We can still kind of like know where everybody is.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like so many fun short activities throughout the day that you can just hop into if you want to do the fitness classes or bingo or trivia, or they had some like just like some fun little competitions in the water.
Fun. And I know your kids aren't huge kids club people, but I did see, I don't know if I Googled this or if you posted this, but it's typically open from 9 to 5 and for kids 4 to 12. So like my 13-year-old already aged out of this kind of stuff, but she wouldn't want to do this anyways at this point. But I could see my younger two being interested in popping into a couple things. Some of the activities that they do at this one is like a pizza making class, bracelet making, Spanish class, which I think is actually really fun and cool and kind of unique to take a Spanish class while you're down there. Hat decorating, Mexican drums, a painting contest. And then, like you said, there is kind of a mini water entertainment area by the kids club that can be used different times a day by anybody.
Yeah. And my sister just told me, my sister was there in January with a friend and both their families. And she said the kids club, when they were there, had extended their hours and were open again for evening. So that was pre-pandemic. They were always open in the evening so parents could have kids there while they went out to eat. And then sort of like that stopped in the pandemic, but it sounds like that might be back. So people could do that for dinner as well. And then the kids club, they had really cool crafts every day that were actually not in the kids club. They would be like kind of in the main stage area. So you could still check your kid in to do those things. I don't know. They even had something where you were like dipping your hand in wax a bunch of times to create like this mold of your hand. Of course, that didn't survive when it came home.
Yeah, but unique things for them to do, really, not just the typical.
Things, yeah, and you didn't have to, if your kids didn't want to stay, still cool things that they could do because of the way they set it up. They could still be involved in the crafts.
Yeah, they could pop into the craft, but they're not like technically at the kids club all day or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And there is a teen tween club there for older kids that they can check themselves in and out. It's basically just video games. But last time we were there, our tweens thought it was really cool.
I'm sure my son would love that. It's like, we take our chill time in the hotel room. Maybe they take their chill time playing video games.
Yes, exactly.
And then I saw in your stories also that there's a lot of iguanas, which is kind of fun for people, especially kids that are like animal lovers.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about food here. So breakfast, similar, big buffet, lots of great options.
Yep. So 2 options, either the big buffet, or there's a restaurant called Trade Winds, which you order off a menu.
Kind of a sit down experience.
Yep. Our family is divided as far as what they like. Some people like the sit down because then you're not like getting up and down and it feels more relaxing. What I really like about the buffet setup at the Hyatt Ziva is that if you sit outside, there is this like grassy area right next to it. So you can sit outside, and then when the kids get squirrely, they can just like run around in the grass. And for us, that's invaluable. So, our kids are big now, but like my nephew is very squirrely. My younger nephews are squirrely. So like they can run around, and you can have the big kids be like, go walk the kids up and down over here. And so that for us, for quality of vacation, it's really nice to have that big open seating area for the buffet.
Yes.
Specifically, that's any time of day, but in the morning we often defaulted to the buffet for that alone, just so the kids could run around if they needed to.
100%. And then I saw that there was, I don't know if this is at both of them or just at Cancun, but you guys seem to really like the crepe station, and one of your kids was getting Nutella crepes, and my children are obsessed with Nutella crepes. So I was like, ooh, give them a Nutella crepe, and they're going to be like, when can we go back? What about your go-to spots for lunch? I know you have a favorite restaurant here in the same sense that your kids can run around at. So tell us about that.
Our favorite is Habaneros, which is right on the beach. Like, so you can be inside, but the kids can be playing in the water. And we love Mexican food. So I would say this restaurant is the number one thing that like sets this hotel apart for us, because the food, we think the tacos and the ceviche there are really good. I'm not in Mexico to eat Italian food.
Yeah, or to eat sushi, right? Like, it's nice that they have it, but it's like, I want to eat Mexican food. Yes.
We did go to the Italian place one night.
Yes, you got to mix it up if you're there.
Good. But for lunch, we always go to that Mexican restaurant, Habaneros, right on the beach, because that's our favorite. We just love it so much. And then the kids can also be right there in the sand, or they can, run around. I love the drinks there at that restaurant as well. I think even last time when my whole family was there and it was 16 people, I was like, listen, you do what you want. In our family, we eat at this restaurant every day for lunch. But like, don't try to convince me to go somewhere else, because I will not.
We will be here and we will see you later, or you can join us.
Yeah. And I think everyone always just joined us because my whole extended family likes Mexican food too. But there are other lunch options. There's like an American diner, which is really cute, that has this Chevy, like this old Chevy that like you can, if you're lucky, you get to be the one eating in the Chevy. And that's just like burgers, fries, milkshakes, that kind of stuff. So, and then there's like pizza, or just like they have stuff out by the pool. Sometimes they'll just have like all these grills out and you can just go get a burger, stuff like that. That's really easy. Or ceviche.
I love your love for habaneros, because on my honeymoon, we went to an all-inclusive in Playa del Carmen. And there was one, I think it was called the Royal, I can't really remember, but there was one restaurant that was out by the beach that opened at 11 a.m. And I still remember every day we were like ceviche. They had the best chips and salsa. They had the best Mexican food. And like you, I love Mexican food. And if I'm in Mexico, I want to eat Mexican food. There are actually some all-inclusives that don't have Mexican food in Mexico. And it's like, what are you doing? You're right here. But something about like the sea breeze in your hair, seeing the ocean, eating delicious Mexican food, it's like hard to beat. And so for you to have that option, and your kids, when they're done, even if they're older, they can go play in the ocean water, the beach right there. Yeah. It's like nothing beats it. So I can see why you love that so much. A
fun fact is that I didn't think about this till now, is that my podcast like image of me that I use, the photo of me that's on my podcast that says Points for Number is me sipping a margarita at Habaneros. So
I love it. Coming full circle. That's amazing. Okay. And then what about your favorite dinner spots? What are some places that you guys like to hit up here?
At least once we like to go to Trade Winds, which is the steakhouse. We're big steak eaters. So like everyone in our family is happy with that. If you don't like steak, then
get out of the family.
there is an adults only French restaurant. I think some people would probably really think that that's great. We're like that's not our personal spot, but that's
French
considered
food is
like
very
one of the
specific.
fancier. Yeah, it's one of the fancy places. I do think it's fun to go to the French restaurant for dessert because they have a flaming dessert, and like if there's a flaming dessert, I just love to order it. So like that's fun, but it's a little more. The logistics are more complicated if you have kids because it's adults only restaurant. The Italian restaurants go to. Oh, I don't know. I didn't think of this to say this before, but one of our favorite things there for dinner is the hibachi restaurant where they're going to do the whole show with the, again, something that if you go out to eat here is going to cost, I don't know how much it costs per person.
Oh, it's so expensive. It's like $30 to $40 a person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hibachi's such a crowd pleaser. The food's good. It's entertaining. Kids like it. Adults like it. I love a hibachi.
Yeah. And that's absolutely something you have to make a reservation in advance so that I do make my family commit to that like a week before we go. I think sometimes they'll email you before you even get there and say like, do you need any help with reservations before you get here? And we are always booking the hibachi place because especially if you have a bigger group. If you have a smaller group, it's fine. But we were like 16 people on this last trip. So
yeah,
like,
you took up
guys,
like 2 hibachi
tables. Lock in for hibachi.
And do you have an app while you're there that you can kind of check what's going on and make reservations through, or no?
Yeah, I think it's not officially an app. It's like a
website.
It's like a website that they kind of show you how you can like pin the website to your phone and check those.
But you can check the schedule there or like make a reservation there or that sort of thing.
Yeah, and you can always, I mean, what we liked doing last time was, I'm pretty sure it was a WhatsApp number that there's like a concierge on WhatsApp, and they were like the most responsive. They were just really fast and easy to get in touch with that way. It was like a QR code or something that said, like send a WhatsApp to the concierge team.
I always say on this podcast that like every time you go to Mexico, everybody's like, you need WhatsApp. And I always like mess it up and can't find the messages. And we are just booked some excursions in Cabo when we're going this summer, my husband and I. And immediately it was like, your tour director has messaged you in WhatsApp. And I was like, dang it, I got to get it again and
you just have
figure
to
it out.
I know. So I never use it unless I'm traveling.
And then tell us about the sweet shop, because I saw this in your stories and it seems like a kid's dream. And so tell us a little bit about this.
I know. Some of the stuff I'm like, how did I not get to this? It's because there's so much. Yeah. We've been there 5 times. Obviously, we love it. The sweet shop is so fun because I would say like the same kind of stuff is available at the Cana resort. You know what I mean? Like it's like similar stuff, but the sweet shop is literally like you walk into this candy shop and then everything's included. And so
I mean, what a dream for a kid.
It is just so fun, and then there's ice cream and there's like little packaged things and there's gummies and
in Disney World, I'm like, you can pick one thing, and there you're like, you can pick what you want.
I feel like they have it almost every time where they're just like those giant rainbow lollipops that like every kid thinks that that's what they want, and then they have like 3 licks and they're like, no, this is what I'm like, yeah, I know you wanted fudge or like you wanted ice cream, like but they're hard to resist. And that is open most of the day. I mean, I think it probably opens at like 11 or something.
Yeah, it was really cute. There's like glass containers filled with candies and cookies and lollipops, and it just looks so fun. Does the Cana have like a dedicated sweet shop like that?
They don't. No.
Okay.
I think this is the only one that I'm aware of, the only Ziva property that has a dedicated sweet shop.
Okay.
Which is fun. And that the sweet shop there is connected to a coffee shop. So it's same, you can go in every morning and get whatever you want, or morning or afternoon, whenever you need your coffee.
Yeah.
And
both.
Get a coffee and a pastry. And then usually right outside that, they have a little stand of a guy making churros in the morning.
Oh, fun.
So, depending, because sometimes it's like your kids wake up, but you're not quite ready to go to breakfast yet. You just want to like have a quick snack.
Okay. I know we've talked about a lot of the stuff that you guys like here, but again, tell us about a typical day for your family at the Hyatt Ziva Cancun from sun up to sundown.
I'll say the last time we went, like it'd be like my husband and I are waking up. One of us is going to get coffee, and because we have the ground floor room, one of us is like sneaking out. So we're not waking up the kids and just getting coffee. And then now that our kids are bigger, we will just like go drink our coffee down by the beach and in a chair, or we'll go for a run or a walk or something on the beach. And then once the kids wake up, our kids usually want to get a churro. So like stopping to get a churro on the way to breakfast. We probably are also reserving chairs again. We're very like, our all-inclusive routine is very much the same.
It's streamlined at this point.
Streamlined. I mean, sometimes we'll have a discussion based on the activities of the day as to like where we're going to set up. So I'm really big on like either the morning or the afternoon we're at the beach, and then the other one we're at the pool.
Yeah, we're not moving around too much. Yeah.
Because I like to get my chairs. And so but it might depend. Like we might be at the pool on a certain day at a certain time because maybe we really want to do like bingo and whatever. So we're reviewing the activities closely to know where we want to be. We generally don't go to the beach that's at the backside that's really big. We really like the beach that is right by Habaneros. It is really shallow. There's only like 2 rows of chairs. Those chairs you do have to kind of reserve early, especially if you want a shady chair, which I'm also kind of obsessed about getting shady chairs. But that is a really nice, they don't really, on that part, they don't have a seaweed problem right there.
Oh, nice.
And so you can go in. It's pretty easy to go in. You could even snorkel there. There's not really coral, but you could see a few fish. And so it's a good spot for like building sandcastles or, just like that's a good beach hangout spot. And then you're right by Habaneros to get all of their drinks, which is our favorite. And definitely, like I said, lunch, Habaneros. Definitely, absolutely.
What's your favorite margarita at Habaneros?
So what I like, I don't know what it's called. It's like it's not actually a margarita. It has mezcal and hibiscus together.
Yeah, smoky
and I
tequila.
don't know what that is. I think it's called like a mezcalita or something.
Ooh,
I don't know what it is. But I love the hibiscus and I love mezcal, so that's what I get. But I either get that or I get a caipirinha. Those are my 2 drinks. I really don't. I've streamlined my drink orders and I'm like, I don't offer me something else. This is what I want. I either want a caipirinha, which I actually like better than a margarita, or I want the one with the mezcal and the hibiscus.
And then what are your like go-to orders? Ceviche, and then are there certain tacos you love?
All of them.
All of it. Yeah, you're like, we're here. We paid for it. All of it. Yeah.
I think, especially because the portions are a little bit smaller there. So we're literally, I mean, if we have a table of like 6 adults, we're literally like one of everything, please, because the tacos are coming with like a couple tacos or like, so we're just ordering all of them.
That exact same thing happened at my 40th birthday. I was like, which ceviche should we get? And my best friend goes, all of them. And I was like, oh yeah, duh. Yeah. There's like 3. Let's get them all.
Yeah.
Okay. So after lunch, then you're switching back to either pool or beach based on what you did earlier, and then off to dinner.
Yep, exactly. And just rotating through the dinner spots. And then after dinner, we love the entertainment there. So the entertainment there is a little bit different. It's instead of a classic stage area, from the lobby, there's all these steps that go down to what is a big open area, like a stage. I mean, they use it like a stage, but you're essentially sitting on the steps. I mean, they are officially seats, but I just like it. I like it because then the pool's behind it. It's just really pretty.
You're not stuck behind the resort.
You're not stuck behind the resort. It's really easy to like pop over to the sweet shop and get a snack if the kids need a snack. Sometimes even in the late afternoon, we're going, there's a sports bar on the
cute
next to the kind of between the lobby and the sweet shop. And they have some fun, they even have like the pretzels there are really good. And there's an outside spot you can sit, but then inside there's pool tables. So sometimes like the dads will go shoot a game of pool.
And I'm sure there's like TVs on so guys can like catch their games. Yeah.
Yeah. But even we really like that food there for, I don't know, sometimes we just want a good soft pretzel.
Yeah. With like a cheese dip or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. We have been talking a ton about these 2 resorts, so we're going to try to wrap it up. Last question. Is there anything you pack for these Hyatt Ziva trips that you find very helpful to bring with you?
The biggest thing I kind of mentioned it's maybe not everyone's bringing is like a big floaty or like a tube.
I like that idea. I've never done that before, but I'm going to do that next time.
Yeah. I think men might have some like dress code stuff for dinner there.
Like maybe at the French restaurant or
yes.
You always want to look that stuff up. That surprised me on the Disney cruise. We actually got stuck on the Disney cruise during Hurricane Milton that was out for 2 extra days.
Oh wow.
It's a whole podcast episode. It might have been my first and last cruise, but we were stuck. And so my husband and I were like, well, let's go to the like nice Palo or whatever, nice restaurant one night because we're still on this ship. And they were like, he needs pants. And I was like, are you serious? Now they would let him like borrow pants, but he was like, I'm not borrowing someone else's pants. Yeah. So we didn't go. But yeah, always check into the dress codes. Okay, let's do a high level overall comparison, just kind of top of mind, off the top of your head between the 2 and pick your winner for the Hyatt Ziva Showdown for your family. Yep.
Okay. So I think that for landscaping, the Cap Cana property, I would say it's more beautiful when it comes to like, they have better garden gardeners or better landscape designers there or something. It's more interesting and beautiful from a plant perspective. I'd say the Cancun property is more stunning from a viewpoint. I think the beach is better at Cancun because they don't have the seaweed problem. But the water activities, I'd say, are a little bit better in Cap Cana because you can go out on a catamaran, which is fairly unique.
And you have the whole water park.
Yeah. I'd say the generic food is about the same. I don't think that food, the sort of like the Italian food, all that kind of stuff was better at one or the other. But for us, the food is better at Ziva Cancun because it has the Mexican food. The Dominican Republic is not a culture that is known for having they do have some delicious food. Every time I kind of try to say something about a country and their food, I get pushback.
Yeah, lots of hate.
There are some good things to eat, but let's be honest, Dominican Republic is not like one of the top cuisines of the world. Mexican food is. Mexican food is one of the top cuisines of the world. So the fact that the Ziva Cancun leans into that, at least with one restaurant. Now, I think they could have done more with what they did, but they lean into that with that restaurant. To us, that sets it apart because it's a food that we love. I think a lot of the stuff is pretty similar. And to me, what people's decisions should come down to is the flights in order to get there, because I think that is going to make your experience, and it's a big difference for your experience. Generally, I think it's a lot more expensive. For some people, it's going to be a lot more expensive to go to the Dominican Republic. And I'm not sure that that's worth the extra cost and having a layover versus taking the nonstop to Mexico. Although if you are really, really nervous, you should go to Cap Cana because it is a gated community and it's going to feel safer if you're really nervous. I personally think they're both really safe. I really think people should go based on flight routing. I think people should be more thinking about flight routing when they pick places than they do. When people in Atlanta are like, I really want to go to Hawaii. I'm like, well, it's kind of far from you.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe don't. Because I think you're going to have more fun if you go to Puerto Rico. Yeah. So for us, I think it's obvious by where we go back to again and again. For us, it's the Ziva Cancun. For the food, it's little things though, right? So I don't want to knock the one in the DR because it's an absolutely beautiful property. The water park, some people are going to love that. It's beautiful. The room is probably better there because of the balcony. But for us, Cancun is more accessible for us. It's cheaper to get there. There's a ton of flights. It's closer. It's those little things about where the kids can be out playing right by where you're eating. Less important to us now that our kids are 12. But when our kids were in elementary school or even little preschoolers, that was really important to us. And the food, the Mexican food.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
You guys heard it. Hyatt Ziva Cancun is the winner today. But
for me,
we all know,
but it might be something. It might be different for other people.
Cap Cana is a very popular resort right now, but it is so popular that it's hard to get into, and it's nice to hear about the other properties as well because there's great things happening at the other properties
They're
you guys
beautiful.
love. Yeah.
Yep.
Katie, I end every episode with, if someone out there is considering booking a Hyatt Ziva property, either one, what is it about the Hyatt Ziva properties that would make you say just book it?
I think it is the combination of the level of service. They do a great job with making that vibe, the relaxed vibe as soon as you enter. The vacation, just being vacation ready to relax as soon as you're there. And then just knowing that the food is really good. But if you order something that you don't love, just order something else. Don't complain about it. Just try something else. So I just think just all around, they're just beautiful properties. The staff is really great at all of them. And I think they just make for such a nice, relaxing vacation. If you have the budget, points wise or money wise, 100%. I love both of them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. You were a wealth of knowledge today. You basically work at the Hyatt Ziva Cancun. So thank you for being a spokesperson, and remind people where they can find you online.
So my podcast is Points for Normal People. And so you can look that up wherever you're listening to this podcast. It should be on there. And then otherwise, my website is katiestraveltricks.com. And that's my handle on everything else. So on Instagram, I'm Katie's Travel Tricks. YouTube, same thing. So that's where I am.
Amazing. You guys go check her out and check out her podcast. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Kelsey. So great to be here.
That wraps up another episode of Trip Tales. If you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the schedule. Also, be sure to follow the show so that you don't miss any upcoming vacation destinations. And if you have an extra minute in your day, please leave a review for the podcast. It helps more than you could imagine. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales.